Welcome back to Between the Seams with Marty and Mack, brought to you by the Triple Play Fantasy Network. Mack, today we're going to be setting up our listeners for Week 11, but before we hop into it, how was your week going, man?
It's been a week. It was a good week of fantasy baseball. I think I'm leading almost every matchup I'm in, which I am pretty stoked on that. I'm on like 6 head-to-heads, and I'm either like tied or winning all of them, which
that's the best.
I went up 9-0 in one of my category leagues this earlier today with Aaron Nola starts. So
beautiful. Yeah, I have Aaron Nola in my TGFBI league. He's been absolutely incredible. I've taken over. I'm ranked number 1 now in my TGFBI league, and as of last night, 15th overall. So
all right, look at that.
I know, man.
And Nola's been relatively disappointing. I mean, he's been great, but he's still for what people thought like potential Cy Young.
He was my ace. He was my number 1 pitcher.
I mean, but you have to think he'll pick it up as the season goes along even more. This has to be like his floor, which is crazy.
And that's the way I see it, especially with how bad the Phillies have been at producing runs. And I think, Bryce Harper's finally healthy. I think they're moving in the right direction with that. So hopefully the W's will be coming. Enough about us. Let's hop into the show here. Mack, we're going to start. Let's review, as always, our hitters from last week, which would be week 10. How do we do?
We did okay. Let me find where I'm at here. All right, week 10 hitters. I had Kyle Seager, Cesar Hernandez, and Corey Dickerson. And all of those guys just had pretty decent, okay, not wonderful. So let's start with Seager. He, as of writing this, so Saturday, he was 2 for 20 with a single and a home run. Not great. Hit a home run today off Shane Bieber, a bomb, 430 feet. So make that 3 for 20, I suppose, with a single and 2 home runs, which is kind of what you expect from Kyle Seager. It is, a 240 average with, give you home runs. So I don't know. It's not, it's pretty much what I expected. 2 home runs for a week. You can't really be mad about it.
I'll be happy with that.
Cesar Hernandez is still weirdly hitting the ball hard, but again, still getting unlucky. And I mentioned that last week. He was 3 for 15. He had a couple walks, 3 for 15 with a home run. He scored 6 runs, 2 RBIs. He's consistently at the top of that Indians lineup, and so he's always scoring. He's always on base.
He's led off the last 9 games, so he's pretty much just cemented as their leadoff hitter.
And it's not like they have anyone to really supplant him. We'll talk a little bit about Ahmed Rosario later on, but other than that, I mean, he's kind of, you're right, cemented up there. Even batting 240, whatever he's batting, not great, but
217. But the batting average, across the league, is around 240.
So it's not not horrible. And then the Dick Boy, Corey Dickerson.
The Dick Boy.
He had a hit every single day this week, but he went 1 for 4 every day. So he's 6 for 24 for a 250 average with 4 runs, 2 RBIs, and pretty much nothing else to speak of. But he's on a 7-game hitting streak. It's just 1 single every game. So I mean, it'll help out your batting average a little bit this week, but the 4 runs isn't bad. I'm not mad about 4 runs. But
no, you'll take it. And he's batting cleanup right in the middle of the Marlins order every single day. So
not a great order to speak of, especially when Jazz isn't in it. But they got some sneaky talent. Aguilar, they can pull off some big games. It's just there's a lot of blah in between.
That will happen. So let's take a look at my Week 10 hitters. My first one was the old vet Justin Upton. So he did okay. He batted 250 with an OBP of 478. So if you're in an OBP league, he had a 30.4 walk percentage. 30.4. So, literally every third at bat, he was walking. So you will obviously take that. 23 plate appearances. He only had 4 hits. One of them was a home run. He scored 6 runs, and he did get you 1 single RBI. My little bit roll of the dice was Harold Ramirez, and this is why he was 1% rostered. So he had 13 plate appearances, only 3 hits, no home runs, only 2 RBIs. He batted 250 in those 3-4 games he played. So, it wasn't like a full tank, but overall, just pretty brutal. And then lastly was A.J. Pollock coming off the IL for the Dodgers. He had 6 games. 3 of them were against Pittsburgh, and then he plays and then 3 versus Texas. The 6th one's today. He did a little bit better. He had 17 plate appearances. He got me 5 hits. He had a bomb, 2 runs, 2 RBIs. For the week, he batted .313 with an OBP of .353. So overall, pretty solid. Nothing that really stood out. Unfortunately, Kyle Schwarber wasn't on my list for this week. I think he has 3 home runs this week after getting another 1 or 2 today. But overall, not too bad of a week. Mack, how did your Week 10 pitchers? How do we do on the other side of the ball?
I'm not mad about how my Week 10 pitchers did. So we have Matthew Boyd. He went against Seattle. He hadn't had a win since April 13th, so this was a roll of the dice. But he went 6 innings, got a win, no earned runs, no runs at all, 3 strikeouts. Again, down with the strikeouts, but as long as he's limiting the home run ball, so it is what it is. 1.17 WHIP. So overall, a good outing. Got your quality start, too. And nothing on your ERA to speak of. Then I had Chris Flexen, who is a Seattle pitcher going against Detroit. So the other side of the ball, we had Detroit against Seattle for Matthew Boyd. Flexen versus Detroit. He was fine. 6 innings pitched. He got a quality start, 3 earned runs. It's a 4.50 ERA. The exact same WHIP, 117 as Matthew Boyd. He got a no decision because it went. He left the game. I think it was tied. So that was fine. Quality start. It's what you expect from Chris Flexen. I can't ask for anything else. I've got him as like my 6th starter in a 20-teamer, and that's what I want from him. Yep. And then Justin Dunn, and I got to apologize here because I believe I led our my misinformation led our watchers astray because he did not do great. 3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. But here's the thing is he was coming off the IL. Yep. And after I recommended him, I saw that news because I don't have him on any of my staffs. And he's 6% rostered, and so I didn't realize he was coming off the IL. And I try never to recommend people coming off the IL because usually that first start is shaky and has a pitch count.
My Tony Gonsolin. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a perfect segue.
Yes. And so I try. That's like a general rule for me, and I broke my general rule because I was ill-informed. Yep. But if you were smart and knew that from the get-go, then you would have maybe picked up Vladimir Gutierrez, who I gave a shout-out to. Yep. Can't count him towards my stats, but he had 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, and a W against Milwaukee. So if you'd gone Vladimir route instead of the Justin Dunn route, things went well for you. So 2 good starts, 1 pretty bad start. Shout-out to Vladimir Gutierrez. He's got 3 good starts under his belt, and he's worth a look from now on.
Yeah, I think overall he did really well. 2 quality starts, and you talked, Dunn coming off the IL. That's going to happen. I mean, even with that blow up, the 15 ERA in those 3 innings, still has a 3.91 ERA and a 1.34 WHIP for the year. So,
and I like Dunn for the rest of the season. That's just one of those one-off starts when the guy's coming off the IL. I don't think he's going to be crazy prolific, but it'll get you a under 4 ERA.
And then, like I said, the perfect segue into my we'll start with my Week 10 pitchers here, starting off with Tony Gonsolin. So I expect him to go about 70, 75 pitches, maybe go 4, maybe get to that 5th inning against the lowly Pirates lineup, who they're literally ranked 30th in OBP. So, but as you alluded to before, hey, being a Major League Baseball pitcher is hard. You haven't pitched in 2 months. You're going to be a little bit, a little shaky. So he only went 1 2/3 against the Pirates. He only gave up 1 earned run, but in that time he issued 5 walks. So I think it took him 46 innings last year to issue 5 walks. So just shaking out the cobwebs or whatever it is. The first thing the first time back, that's how it's going to go. And he wasn't even a 2 starter for this week. They pushed back his start to tomorrow. He plays the Phillies. So Gonsolin was rough, but just like with Dunn, the rest of the year, locked and loaded. I think he should be somebody that you can really depend on. With Gonsolin, I think even in a 10-team, 8-team league, hold on to him, see where he goes. Number 2 was Marco Gonzalez playing against the Detroit Tigers, and he was Marco Gonzalez. He wasn't very good, even against a bad Tigers team. And over 4 innings, He pitched 4 innings. He gave up 4 earned runs, for a 9.00 ERA, had a 1.5 WHIP, and only 2 Ks against the Tigers, who strike out, I think, either the most or second most in all of Major League Baseball as of yesterday. So Gonzalez gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. So those 2 starts were pretty brutal. But my last one totally redeemed himself. Mr. Robbie Ray.
Robert himself.
Robbie, I'm speechless. Unfortunately, he got the no decision, but he went 6 1/3 against the White Sox. He only gave up 1 earned run on 5 hits. Overall, he generated 21 swing and misses. 13 of those swing and misses were on his slider for 13 strikeouts. I mean, he was just – I watched the whole game. He was dominating. It was Robbie Ray. He might be for real. I would keep holding on to him and keep, letting him go the rest of the year. But he's pitched at least six innings in the last 7 of his 9 outings. Today, he's going against the Red Sox for his second start. And this was a little bit, it was risky going against these 2 lineups. But everything that I'm seeing from Ray has been pretty good. Currently, right now, the Toronto Blue Jays are beating the Boston Red Sox 16-3.
Vlad just hit a home run.
Who did?
Just a second. Vlad did. I just got the notification.
Did he?
Number 21.
Dude, I mean, hey, don't worry about ground ball rates, kids.
No, they're from an elite bloodline, and they're 21.
Yep. And he's had like the most prospect pedigree since Bryce Harper. So
This was the only year you could have got him at a discount. The only one.
Yep. He was dropping finally to the 5th round.
I got him 1 league. And I'm kicking myself since then, but he's killing it for that 1 league. So
the Blue Jays offense is so powerful. So I think it's gonna be safe to say he's gonna get the win up 16-3.
Probably.
He might even still be in the game, but as of right now, Ray's gone 6 more innings, 10 Ks. Only given up 2 runs. He's already got the quality start. I mean, I'm not going to use the elite word. I think that gets thrown around too much, but my God, what he's doing is absolutely incredible.
It's kind of like last year's Dylan Bundy is kind of what it feels like.
That's actually a really good one. That's true.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
It feels a lot like that, and so you kind of want to wait and see if it's real, because Bundy's kind of reverted back to some old form. But man, it's nice to ride it out.
Yeah, anyone who picked up Robbie Ray randomly or drafted him in the 23rd round of a big league, I mean, you look like a genius. So congratulations to you guys. And now let's hop into week 11. The next week, let's get our listeners fully ready for Fab, which is coming up here very soon. And as always, for week 11, and for us, it's going to be June 14th through June 20th.
Yep.
Mack, who do we got for your hitters?
All right, so I'm chasing speed a little this week, a little power speed combo, all 3 of my hitters. Number 1, we got Mr. Dylan Moore coming off the IL. My rules for hitters are different than pitchers, especially when guys are rested and they've been banged up. And Dylan Moore has come off a style. If you remember, I recommended him as a waiver wire pickup, and he got hurt, went on the IL immediately that week. Yep. And he was hot going into it, so he's come off the IL. And since then, as of writing this, because he was already 1 for 1 today when I wrote it down. He's 3 for 5 with a home run and a stolen base. Last night he served up a combo meal, shot with a stolen base. And when he's on, he can be a crazy power speed threat.
With so much eligibility, second base, third base, shortstop, outfield. If you play in Yahoo, he's still only 48% rostered. Yep,
all 3 of my guys actually. That's a good segue. All 3 of my guys are power speed threats with some eligibility. So we got Jonathan India. He's not as much a speed threat, but he has been. Great hair.
His great hair. I don't know.
Hey, he's got some absolutely great hair. And I know a thing or two about hair.
You do.
No, Jonathan India, he's 38% roster. I forgot to mention Dylan Moore's 48% roster. Jonathan India has been hitting the cover off the ball recently. He had a really bad start. So he had a hot spring, really bad start, and he got moved down the lineup. He started hitting. Now he's back up in the lineup. Over the last month, he's got a 282 average with a 402 on base percentage. He's 4 home runs, 12 RBIs. He does have 3 stolen bases, so it's not like he won't steal you any bases. So I like him a lot in the middle of a Reds lineup.
Such a good lineup too. I mean, they're top 5 in almost every important metric.
And they like him a lot. I mean, he skipped a level and they kept him on the roster after his start in spring. So he's second base, third base eligible. I like him a lot at second base, especially since it's such a shallow position. Another guy that's worth mentioning that I'm not gonna leave on here is Jonathan Scope. He's hit like 7 home runs in the last 2 weeks. Did you recommend him? Was he one of your pickups a couple weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. Scope
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So maybe you were like just a little early on him because
I don't know if you saw today because I was actually, as I was telling you before we were off air, I was actually back at my parents' home, my hometown, watching the Tigers play. He got hit with a pitch right in the arm, and he was removed. So
that sucks.
Sore hand as of now. X-rays pending. But he's been incredible.
But Scope's been a beast if you need if you're in a deep league and need second base help. But he's always one of those guys that no one drafts for some reason, and he has 25 home runs, whatever. Then number 3, you got Ahmed Rosario. He's 35% rostered. And speaking of guys who have been hitting the cover off the ball recently, he's entrenched at the top of the Cleveland lineup. He's shortstop and outfield eligible. When he was hitting at the bottom of the Cleveland lineup, he just wasn't really producing. Something that is interesting about Rosario is that he was a super inefficient base stealer. He led the league in caught stealing 2 years ago in 2019. He had 29 attempts and was caught stealing 10 times. So he was very inefficient, but this year he's had 6 attempts and he's 6 for 6 on all of them, which means, and all of those steals have come since May 1st. And over the last month, he's batting .360 with a 402 on base percentage. He's got 2 home runs and 5 steals. And he scored 17 runs. So
producing. Non-stop producing.
Absolutely producing. Especially again, there's no one really to challenge him for his spot in the lineup. It's not like
and I actually guessed wrong with Andres Jimenez. I had him last year. I was fully invested coming into this year, so I had him in a few leagues, and obviously he's back in the minors, so I dropped him pretty much across the board. And that was an amazing statistic bringing up Ahmad Rosario, getting caught so much stealing bases. So my first thing is it because he's not fast enough, or he just, which obviously you can't teach speed, right? Or is it the other way where he just doesn't read it? He doesn't read stolen bases well. He doesn't have good instincts. And I go to his sheet. He's 97th percentile in sprint speed. So I think he's just, adapted and learned a little bit more. And
and it's got to be something about the new environment because it was with the Mets and the Mets. Off the top of my head, I've watched quite a bit of NL East baseball. This is purely anecdotal, but it feels like the Mets get caught stealing a decent amount. So I don't know if that's actually true or not. But it seems like a very Mets thing.
But it looks like he's really improved his base running instincts. That's good.
And so if he keeps on stealing, he's a great threat to be like 10-15 guy, 10 home runs, 15 stolen bases, which is what you need.
Awesome. So can you review your 3 for us this week?
Yes, sir, I can. I have Dylan Moore, Jonathan India, and Ahmed Rosario.
There you go. Max week 11 hitters. Now let's take a look at mine. You're going to see a little bit of a theme with my first 2. So we'll start off with Brendan Rodgers. So Colorado shortstop, 17% rostered. The Rockies have 7 games next week at home. So all games are at Coors. Rodgers has 3 against the Padres, 4 against the Brewers. So 2 actually pretty good pitching staffs. Brewers are sneaky good. So even though Trevor Story's back from the IL, he's still seeing plenty of playing time. And anytime you're in that stadium, I expect good things. He just hasn't had, as the Rockies often do, they don't give their young players enough opportunity to shine. And when they start to hit a little bit of, hit their stride, they demote them, they move them around, they put them in the outfield, whatever they do. So it's always a little bit risky, but anytime you have a player you can pick up and put him in. He should play at least 6 games, probably all 7. Brandon Rogers, I think, is going to be super solid. Number 2 is CJ Cron. So he's first base, 34% rostered. Again, he's on the Rockies, so he has all 7 games in Coors. And CJ's been a huge disappointment so far this year. He was on the Tigers last year for only a few weeks, but he had like 4 home runs in those couple weeks. Got hurt his knees out the rest of the year. The year before that, on the Twins, I think he was, hit over 30 home runs. StatCast darling, max exit velocity through the roof. Even this year, it's in the 94th percentile. So he's still hitting the ball hard. He just hasn't hit his stride after, a knee surgery and, playing on and off for the first couple of months. So it's a little bit of a dice roll because neither player has been really outstanding so far. But again, you're in Coors for 7 games. The stats are going to come. That's just how it's always been. And then lastly, your boy, Willy Adames, shortstop, 27%. Still only 27% rostered. He has 3 games this week against Cincinnati, and then 4 games at Coors Field. So, plug and play everything I just said about Coors. I mean, I don't have to go into that. But I really liked everything that I've seen from Willie this year. You kind of opened up the door, opened up my eyes to him, and kind of what he's been doing, ever since he's left Tampa. Over the last 15 games, he's batting .264, pretty good. He has 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. He's walked 5 times. He's striking out, more than we'd like to see. But, hey, sitting at the top of that lineup again, playing in Milwaukee, that's a pretty good place to be. So my week 3 hitters are Brandon Rogers, Willy Adames, and CJ Cron, or Crone, however you want to go about it. I think it's Crone. Is it Crone?
I've heard Crone more than Cron, but I don't know.
I think it's Crone.
It wouldn't be a between the scenes if we didn't know how to pronounce someone's name.
Which I should know because I said the guy's name a billion times last year, but he's been so bad. It's Crone. We'll just go with Crone. Mack, let me tell me who your week pitcher or your week 11 pitchers are.
I've got let's go. It's Mike Minor, Austin Gomber, and JT Brubaker. So we'll start with Mr. Minor. Mike Minor gets Detroit in the middle of the week, and then whenever you get a chance to stream against Detroit, there's a few teams you want to do it against. All 3 of these teams, all 3 of these guys are facing teams you want to stream against, but Minor gets Detroit. And when you're chasing streams, I think that there's 2 routes you can go. You can go looking for Ks or you can go looking for ratios. Minor has the potential to give you both, but he'll more than likely give you Ks. I mean, 2 years ago, we're not too far removed from a 200 strikeout season from him. Yep. And against the Detroit offense that strikes out a lot, I like it. It's a little bit of a risky stream. I feel like every time I pick up Mike Minor to stream against like Orioles or Detroit, he like blows up, and then I put him in against I desperately put him in against the A's last week, and he spun 7 innings of like I don't even know, like 9 strikeouts or something. Ks. I was like, what in the world?
I have Minor across the board in almost every one of my leagues.
Yeah, he feels like a perennially undervalued guy.
Yep.
Because he's always going to get you Ks. It's not like his ERA is going to be fantastic, but he's useful. He's innings.
You don't have to worry about any type of like innings limits or anything like that.
Yeah.
He's older. He's his K percentage.
In KC, it's a pitcher's park, so it's a much better fit for him than in other places where he's giving up more home runs. So
I love it.
I like Minor against Detroit. Austin Gomber. Now this is an interesting guy. So he's going to get Milwaukee at the end of the week. He's 37% rostered. Since May 1st, Gomber is 4-2 with a 2.58 ERA. He's been pitching really well, and in fact, aside from like one blow-up start at the beginning of the year, he's been pretty solid for the whole season, which is weird. I'm not used to saying that, but it's the truth. And I like him against the really, really bad Milwaukee offense.
Yep.
Now, it is in Colorado, but weirdly enough, Marquez and Gomber have been pitching really well in Colorado. John Gray has been pitching well. I don't know what it is, but the Rockies pitchers have been surprisingly decent at home so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not that worried about that. I don't know.
No, it feels
maybe I
like
should
ever
be.
since people got Gombered. I remember that it became a thing, and I think week 2 or week 3 when everyone picked him up. But ever since that,
ever since everyone got Gombered, he's been ungombering the whole time.
There you go.
And nobody noticed. And then Mr. Brubaker, he gets Cleveland. Brubaker was sort of a darling for the first couple weeks. Everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, his slider!" And then
Zaris was all about him. I mean, he's the reason I picked him up in a couple, just because he was talking about his stuff and what he's been able to do, and And he's been pretty middle of the road, but so it's not like he's been fantastic. But at the beginning of the year, he showcased his stuff. And his last few starts have been against really, really tough lineups. He has he's won for his last 4 starts. He got 1 win and then 3 losses. But those starts were against Atlanta and Boston and some really high-powered offenses. But he's done really well he's beaten the teams he's supposed to beat, and Cleveland's one of those teams. I'm expecting Brubaker to have a good bounce-back start. And like Minor, he's one of those guys when you're chasing streams, he can get you Ks. Brubaker's got the potential to pull out 8 to 10 strikeouts in any given game, especially if that slider is working, which it's a pretty disgusting slider. If you've seen it when it's on, I can see why Saris would be all over it. So to sum that up, got Mike Minor, Austin Gomber, and JT Brubaker. Good stuff. I'm looking forward to actually all 3 of those were really solid. They all came up on my list as well. All right, here's my Week 11 pitchers. We're going to start off with Casey Mize, 60% rostered. This is not the first time I've had Casey or Mize as one of my streamers, but hey, he's at Kansas City, at the Angels, and he has just been absolutely incredible for months now.
Speaking of Saris, he had a comment recently on one of his posts about how he was in on Mize now. He said, at the beginning of the year, I wasn't, but he's made a pitch mix change, and the shape of his pitches are different now. So now he's like he has 3+ pitches.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Because everyone knows the slider is incredible, but to get what do you mix in, a changeup or something? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I've been needing to look into it since I saw that comment. Someone in a Discord was like, he knows one of us, one of the Mize guys, and I was like, I need to look into what Mize has done differently. Yeah,
just over his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his last 8 starts, 7 are quality starts.
Yeah,
and the one that wasn't, he went 5 innings and he only gave up 1 run. So he's been absolutely incredible, and he has two matchups this week. Like I said, against Kansas City. Kansas City is ranked 21st in OPS. The Angels, they're 9th in OPS, but obviously no Trout, and they've really slowed down from an offensive.
And they strike out a lot. So even if they blow up, that's the thing is they could blow you up with home runs if Walsh and Ohtani and Rendon are happen to be on for a night. But if they aren't, you could get 3 Ks out of Upton alone.
Yeah, and real quick on Anthony Rendon, what's going on there? I don't know if you've been following him, but I've been. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's just
age getting to him. It's that, I think, 33, 34-year-old season. Sometimes guys start to take that downward turn right there.
Because he's been one of the most consistent players in baseball for the last 5-6 seasons, right?
Yeah, it seems so stark, such a stark difference. But baseball is unpredictable. I don't know.
It is. He hit a home run he was 2 for 3 last night with a bomb, 4 RBIs. So maybe
he's picking it up. Who knows?
Anywho, moving on, let's hop over to my second pitcher, who was the aforementioned Dylan Bundy. So 57% rostered. He's at Oakland, who's 12th in OPS, and then versus Detroit. So 2 starts. That's probably that's my biggest reason I'm leaning towards him. Even though Oakland's been pretty good throughout the middle part of the season and now moving forward, it's still nothing too crazy there. And we've beaten a dead horse with how bad Detroit is, but I still believe in Dylan Bundy a little bit. Is that stupid?
I don't think so. It's just it's all about the velocity, man. If he can keep it 93, 94, that difference between averaging 91 and averaging 93 is huge for him. It feels like. So.
Yeah, and I was looking at his X stats, his FIP, XFIP, XERA. They look a lot better, than his actual ERA. So that gives me a little bit of hope. But like I said, I just love the matchups and then he's going to finish this week against Detroit. I think it's going to be a really good start. And then lastly, Mr. Shane McClanahan. So one of my favorite last names in baseball. I don't know why. I just like saying McClanahan.
Good Irish name.
Yes, and if you can't tell by my white and red features, I am Irish. But so he's 30% rostered. And he has 2 starts next week. And I saw whatever the first start was, and I was like, don't do it. So ignore his first start for the week. And at the back end of the week, he's going to be going against the Mariners. So the Mariners are the worst hitting team in baseball.
Yep, absolutely.
I was looking at all the stats here. No matter which way you point it, I mean, they've been no hit 2-3 times, 30th in OPS across the board. So you may not get that many. Maybe it's the Rays, right? So you don't know if he's going to go more than 3 innings. But to answer my own question, he's at the White Sox on the 15th to start the week. Do not pitch him against the White Sox. Just chill out. Wait for him against Seattle at the end of the week. I think he's going to get you 5. I think he'll be able to go 5 innings and get you a win. The Ks are there. I like his strikeout ability. Against the Yankees 2 weeks ago, he only went 3 innings, but he got 6 Ks. So, I think that's going to be there. And moving forward, I think, and this is something I read from a Rays beat writer, but they're expecting him to be more of a traditional starter moving forward for the rest of the season. So I'm excited to see that.
Yep.
All right, so to round out my 3 pitchers, Casey Mize, Dylan Bundy, and Shane McClanahan.
And that does it for week 11.
We did it, man. Smooth, effortless. We're at 30 minutes. That's just that's our sweet spot, baby.
That's it. We're right there.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for, I think, guys, women, whomever is watching, thank you so much. This is, again, I love doing this. It's so, I love having an opportunity to talk baseball with you, Mack. You're a great guy. I learned so much about you. You have all these little stats out of nowhere. You just hit me with, I'm out of Rosario. He's got thrown out 8 times. Like, wait, who knows that?
I just read them. I just got those Yahoo blurbs sitting around in my head. Perfect. I don't know why, but they stick up there. So, but yeah, man, this is a lot of fun. I appreciate anyone who's listening to us. It's helpful for me in my leagues. I don't know. I don't know if we're helping anyone else. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. But every now and then I'm like, man, I really need a stream. And then I'm like, wait, I have 6. Cool. I have 6 sitting in a Google Doc.
I've already done the work.
Let me just go pick one of those out.
Yeah, from a personal, not that the show is about us, but from a personal, I mean, TGFBI is going really well. Any of my home leagues, I'm absolutely dominating in. The fantasy, I don't know if you're from the Fantasy Gospel. I don't know if you follow them on Twitter, but they have the Disciples League. I'm number 1 in that. Casey Bubba's there, open bar fantasies there, a lot of heavy hitters. So yeah, this is I hope listeners are taking notes and having just as much fun listening to us as we are producing this, each day. And that being said, it's Sunday, it's the middle of the day. There's still plenty of baseball on, so let's get to it. Let's enjoy it. Any closing words, Mack?
Nothing at all. At this point, you should know where to find us at @JChristianMack on Twitter. Yep. I edit Pitcher List articles every week. Check out Pitcher List if you get the chance. Check out all the Triple Play articles that are coming out. We got more guys coming on staff, pumping out more articles.
Yeah, Triple Play, we're boosting it up. I know Mike's doing more stuff with us. There's a lot of. I was talking to David. There's a lot of things coming down the pipeline for us. So
it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be great. So as always, thank you guys for listening. And we'll see you next week.
All right.